Hi friends, welcome to my YouTube channel SS Analysis. First of all, I would like to tell you that if you are watching this video first time, subscribe my channel to see my more upcoming videos on analysis of different commodities and equity indices. And second important thing is to watch this video till its end to understand the strategy to take your decision. So let us start the day to analyze the movements of S&P 500 futures in different time frames. So here I would prefer to start with a weekly chart of S&P 500 futures. So here you can see that the S&P 500 futures found stiff resistance amid this zone from a long time. So after testing the highs here, the S&P 500 futures continued to found sell off from these levels, and in case of a downward move, the S&P 500 futures found good support from 200 days moving average, what they found in December 2018 during a sharp sell-off, what the S&P 500 futures witnessed during the month of September 2018 when the tariff tussle started between the US and the China, which resulted in a sharp sell-off in the S&P 500 futures when the S&P 500 futures tested the lows of 2352 in December 2018, and since then the S&P 500 futures recovered a lot and finally tested the highs of 2969 once again in April 2019, and since then in every downward move the S&P 500 futures were finding strong support at the 50 days exponential moving average. Here you can see that again and again the S&P 500 futures found strong support here at the 50 days moving average, and here you can see that since October 2019 this uptrend was very steeper when the S&P 500 futures started to move upward and finally tested the highs of 3394 in February 2020 and finally facing stiff resistance on February 20th, 2020, the S&P 500 futures finally witnessed sharp sell-off from these levels and found a sharp downward move here when the S&P 500 futures tested the lows of 2171 on March 23rd, 2020, and once again here you can see that this level provided a strong support to S&P 500 futures because this reversal was too strong in the S&P 500 futures, and finally the S&P 500 futures once again successfully moved above the 200 days moving average but found some resistance here. You can see here I have marked one yellow line. Here you can see that this provided stiff resistance at the levels of 2798 in April 2020, but once again the S&P 500 futures sustained above this strong support level and finally started to move upward. And here you can see that once again the S&P 500 futures faced stiff resistance at the same levels what they have already found during the month of January and second time in September 2018, and once again the S&P 500 futures found this level as a tough resistance. So here you can see that the S&P 500 futures found stiff resistance at the levels of 3197 and showed a downward move once again, where the S&P 500 futures found a strong support at 50 days exponential moving average on June 29, 2020, and finally the S&P 500 futures showed a strong upward move. So here I find that after testing the highs of 3509 on August 28, currently the S&P 500 futures are trading at 3468, which shows an advent of an exhaustion here. So friends, here once again I would prefer to tell you that this is a weekly chart of S&P 500 futures. So here you can see that here the current position of all the moving averages still looks good, but here I find that during this upward journey, the S&P 500 futures have finally entered in a crash zone. Here I find that the immediate resistance for S&P 500 futures is at the levels of 3529 and the final resistance will be at the levels of 3669. So here I find that on August 28th, I find that this could be a last move up to these levels. So here I find that the S&P 500 futures have tested the highs of 3509, and now I find that this could be the last highest level of S&P 500 futures during the year 2020, because now I find the S&P 500 futures could show a heavy sell-off from these levels, mainly in tech shares, because the Federal Reserve's new monetary policy framework, which will likely to see interest rate in the world's dominant economy, remaining low for the longer, so which could result in sharp sell-off mainly in tech shares. So now I find that today's closing of S&P 500 futures will play an important role which will decide the future direction moves of S&P 500 futures. Here I find that if the S&P 500 futures sustain below this immediate support of 3388 during the first trading session of the upcoming week, we'll see the S&P 500 futures to continue its downward move, which may push the S&P 500 futures once again up to the lows of 2054 up to the end of this year. So here I find that the S&P 500 futures look ready to take a sharp downward move, which may continue up to December 31st, 2020, up to the lows of 2113. So I find that finally the S&P 500 futures could test the levels of 2104 during this fall, where the immediate support will be found by S&P 500 futures at the levels of 3034, and second support level will be 200 days moving average, which is currently at the levels of 2746, where the S&P 500 futures could find a strong support. But I find that if the S&P 500 futures find a sustainable move below the levels of 2719 during this fall, we will see the S&P 500 futures to test the new lows of this season before December 31st, 2020. The S&P 500 futures could test the lows of 2060. So friends, be ready to see an action in the S&P 500 futures. So friends, now let's check this move in an hourly time frame. So here in an hourly time frame, here you can see that the S&P 500 futures started to move upward from the 200 days moving average, where the S&P 500 futures sustained for some days. So here you can see that finally from August 21st, 2020, the S&P 500 futures showed a good strength and finally tested the highs of 3509 on August 28th. So here you can see that after facing a stiff resistance at the levels of 3509 on August 28th, currently the S&P 500 futures are trading at the levels of 3486. Here I find that the 20 days exponential moving average has formed a bearish crossover, whereas the S&P 500 futures are trading much below the 20 days exponential moving average, and secondly the 50 days exponential moving average has also formed a bearish crossover in an hourly time frame. So here I find if the S&P 500 futures make a sustainable move below the levels of 3480, we will see the S&P 500 futures to find a steep downward move up to the levels of 3421, where the 200 days moving average could provide some support, but the final destination could be at the levels of 3388 till the weekly closing today. If the S&P 500 futures find a steep fall up to the levels of 3388, we'll see the S&P 500 futures will remain under heavy bearish pressure during the upcoming week, which may continue during the upcoming weeks. So friends, be ready to see an action in the S&P 500 futures. Thank you friends, thanks for watching this video. If you like this video, don't forget to share this video with your more and more friends. Thank you.